It's the First Impressions Podcast. Here's Matt and Charles.
All right, welcome to the First Impressions Podcast. This is episode 2 of the podcast. So we got such a great response from episode 1 that we decided to do another one, but this one's going to be a little bit of a different podcast. Really, the idea of this podcast is just a...
Hold up. People actually watch this thing.
I can't believe it. I told you that nobody would watch this thing.
I mean, did we pay them all something to watch it? They watched it.
Clint's got all the money. And I'm thinking he went and handed out $20 bills.
But you know what we're going to know this time, though? Like, if nobody watches it this time, it's because Clint's on it.
That's
Exactly right.
That's the
I was
variable.
watching it last time going, Dadgum, really? Come on now.
I can do so much better.
But yeah, we do have big stuff going on.
Yeah, we wanted to focus a little bit more on the tragedy that happened in Griffin, the tornadoes that tore through our area. We had some in Pike County in this area as well, but Griffin was probably the hardest hit area. And so we had Frank Knuckles in the service this morning. He is our associational missionary. He basically coordinates the association. That man does more work, of anybody I've ever seen. You know, there's like 60 or 70 churches in our association, and he visits a different church every Sunday morning in the association just to give them some encouragement.
We have churches here in Pike and Spalding, all the way up through Fayette County.
Yeah.
A lot of places.
And he's all over all of them. But we wanted to talk about basically what our church can do, and anybody else that watches this podcast, what you can do to help some of the folks that are really struggling in Griffin right now. And so Matt, we were talking the day after the tornado, so Friday morning. I woke up and I was getting ready to go to work, and I kind of had a way path out because I have to go through Griffin to get to work, and that's where the devastation was. And so I was going to go all the way around Griffin, and go up 75 to get to my office. And it would have taken me a lot more time, but I could have made it, And I looked over at Heather and I said, look, I could go to work today, or, I could take some vacation time and try to see if there's anything that we can do to help these people, because these are our neighbors, these are our church members, these are our family members. And so I called Clint at 6 o'clock in the morning, and I said, I don't know if you're awake yet, but if you are, man, just call me back or whatever. And Clint called me right back. And so I said, we got to do something, man. I don't know what. I'm not the most organized person in the world, and you'll come to learn that about me. But
no, a youth pastor,
right?
unorganized?
Yeah, unorganized. Can you imagine? But
this is the organized one.
That's right. That's why I called Clint.
Not me at all.
That's why I called Clint, though. And so I said,
get us together.
What's something we can do? And we just said, look, let's just load the truck up with food, with water, with supplies, and we'll just drive out to Griffin and just see, where we can be of service. And so that's what we did. And man, some of the stuff that we saw, Clint, and he could tell you about it. It was just the devastation was just huge, widespread. We drove back McIntosh Road, East McIntosh Road, and right behind the Hobby Lobby, and the houses there were just decimated.
Oh, what was so sad is those neighborhoods by Old Oak Hill Church.
Yeah.
Right behind our vet where we go. And it was terrible because all of those have these old oak trees and they're really old houses. They're probably mostly rental houses.
Yeah.
And so every one of those houses seemed to have something hanging through their window and their roof that shouldn't have been there. Limbs and trees everywhere. We saw, roof pieces of metal that were up high up in the trees, way above where a roof, piece should be.
Right.
And all I could think about was those people. They're renting probably, and they're homeless today.
That's right.
And so luckily I did talk to Frank on Friday, and what he was sharing with me is that luckily the Georgia Baptist has their group that's down here trying to work on this, and they're based out of Union Baptist Church, which is a great church. So Brother Tim Knort and all of that group really
Tim.
working hard. So we carried the supplies that we had to Tim's church, and we really just wanted to help in some way.
Right.
And when we found out about that, we knew they were organizing that group there. So they're working in with the association. And so it was just really good to have Frank let us know. And he said, "Hey, by the way, I'm going to come worship with you on Friday."
Yeah, just
I
worked
said, "Well,
out.
Frank, we're going to make you talk.
That's
so,
right.
If you're ready to get up, we're going to talk."
It's never a problem for a
That's
preacher.
right.
No,
And Frank did a great job. But I tell you, the response from our Georgia Baptist Association team, we've got, I didn't even know we even owned this stuff, but they've got trailers with hot showers.
Yeah.
They've got food trailers.
Really cool.
That's the thing. A lot of people don't see this, but we don't see a lot of the greater good that the Georgia Baptists do, and what part of the money through cooperative program that we give goes to fund is now you've seen so many rise in natural disasters.
That's right.
These guys are trained,
That's right.
certified, and ready to
they're
be
being a
on the
blessing.
road the minute it happens.
That's right.
And so having been down and done mission trips in Baton Rouge, New Orleans, down over near Texas before, man, those showers are nice. It's just a trailer and it has a bunch of showers in it, bathrooms in it,
But that
washing
can
machines.
make the difference to people right now. That, like you said, the house is decimated. They're homeless. Maybe they haven't had a shower in a couple of days.
Yeah, 3 days. I mean, we're on day 3.
And having that there, as part of the Baptist Association, that's awesome. They've got a laundry truck. They can do your laundry for you. Bring them a bag, put your name on it. They'll wash it for you.
Timothy.
Yeah.
Maybe that
Let's
bag
send
that's
some
been sitting in
laundry.
your room for weeks. Maybe we can get that.
Yeah. I mean,
Finally.
my teenager takes like 4 showers a day. I can't imagine these
Wow.
people who haven't taken a shower in several days.
Well, you don't have to worry about them stinking. Though.
Yeah.
It's a good thing. That's a
So
good thing.
anything we as a church can do to help, but no, Georgia Baptist, part of one of the reasons why we do give money
Right.
to Southern Baptist Convention and thereby the Georgia Baptist, because they have people who can be boots on the
Resources,
ground
yeah.
immediately.
That's right. And we're seeing that.
Samaritan's Purse is on the ground
that's
now. You can actually go, I think it's Oak Hill Church in Williamson
Okay.
at either 8:30 or 12:30. Let's just say you have a day that you want to go and say, put me to work.
Yeah.
You can go over there. They have orientation 8:30 and 12:30.
Say where that is again.
At Oak Hill Church in Williamson.
Okay.
It's worked through Samaritan Purse. That's Franklin Graham's organization. And they'll put you right to work, give you a little bit of training in the organization, and then send you to an actual house, somebody that needs help.
Yeah, there's a lot of people, anyways, that they're
Yeah.
asking that question. I got a chainsaw, I got a truck, or I got a Bobcat. What do I need to do? Where can I help?
Well, and that's the thing. You need to go and get with the Georgia Baptist Natural Disaster Relief,
Right.
or go there because they can point you to people who deserve it the most
Yeah, that's right.
and help you. And instead of just randomly worried about going to some random house, these guys have been sort of vetted and ready.
Okay.
And they have
More
foremen.
focused than
yeah.
what we were.
Yeah.
We were reacting on
We were
Friday, and we're like, "Oh, we want to help."
Yeah, you want to do something.
And so you do, but getting with these groups is going to help you really get into a focused area, so that the work you're doing is actually going to mean something.
That's right. Matt, share with the podcast viewers what Frank told us today, how we can help through our association.
So the biggest way that Frank is called on us to help is with gift cards.
Yeah.
It takes the guesswork out of us trying to figure out what people might need, what to get. And Lowe's, Home Depot, Walmart, grocery store gift cards, a lot of these folks, man, it's taken everything they had. And unfortunately, a lot of them don't have a lot of savings, too. And I don't know how many of us would be ready if we lost
Yeah, I'm telling
everything
you,
to start
yeah.
replacing little pieces.
There's no way.
So any of these gift cards,
Okay.
just stop by any gas station, store, whatever, do what you can with a gift card, and you can drop them off here at the church on Wednesday.
Okay.
And then we will get them on Thursday to Frank, all in one stack.
So from now until Wednesday, people can drop off the
Yeah,
gift cards.
and you can go past Wednesday too, but we'll get the first load that
Awesome.
tries to get here Wednesday to get us there and to get us going and to help them. We'll just go ahead and get those in. You can bring them to us, even if they're not church members.
Okay.
We don't mind being a drop-off location here.
Absolutely.
And we will make sure to get all of that. And then what Frank will do is he already has people who've come in and asked for help.
Okay.
And it's not just giving it to anybody who just says, hey, give me a gift card. It's people that need it the most.
Good.
And he directs that to where the highest priority need is.
So you know that what you're giving
Yeah,
is
you
going
know
to
what
somebody.
you're giving is about to literally change somebody's life. I mean, people that are worried right now what the next meal's coming from, or
Yeah.
what the next, how am I going to put clothes on my kids' back? I mean, what are we going to do?
Right.
And at least this alleviates some burden.
That's right.
I mean, they got a lot to think about. This takes some of it off.
What me and Clint talked about is this is the biggest opportunity that churches have right now to step up and to serve their communities, and we saw a lot of that.
Oh yeah, no, it was amazing. The people, we went to that one neighborhood, and
Yeah.
it was you come off of 16, you take a left on McDonough Road,
Yep.
and immediately it was just it was desolation. I mean, it was
all the trees were laid over.
everywhere. This
Crazy.
one little car, it was a Mazda Miata,
Yeah.
and I thought, Lord, if I
Buried.
could fit in one of those, I definitely couldn't get out of it after it was crushed. I mean, that thing was terrible, terrible. And but we will go through the neighborhood, and you see. And it's amazing. So we're going by and we're seeing just trees, right? And then you see this double wide trailer sitting out there,
Yeah.
not touched.
Untouched.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you go about a half acre over, and there's this house, probably 2,500, 3,000
Yeah.
square foot house, big giant hole in the roof. And you're
Yeah, it's
going,
decimated.
you know, it blew my mind.
Yeah.
The
Crazy.
just the hand of God. Not that He chooses one over the other,
Right, yeah.
but the chances are that this guy here, you know, he's okay, he's safe, and this guy who was probably had room to get safe, maybe on the lower level in this house. I don't know, but we went up the street, and there were just teams and teams of people just working,
Yeah.
and you know, we felt like our efforts were very needed to just, you know, the supplies that we had purchased to go ahead and get them over to the church.
And it really draws you back to in Acts where it said the church had all things together
That's it.
and all
That's the
things
early
in
church.
common.
Yeah.
And we didn't look for the government to help. We didn't
right.
look for government handouts. We
That's right.
didn't ask for some law to be created to provide funding and assistance. The church
exactly
just
right.
saw the need and took care of the need. And so that's what we're trying to do, is just see it and
Right.
do it.
Your
We're not
social
trying to wait.
benefits back in the day were all handled by the church, not the government. That's how it ought to be. Another thing that we were able to do, Matt, while me and Clint were on the ground out there, we were on the way to Union Baptist Church to drop off, you know, water and food and stuff like that for the association folks out there. But we heard on the radio, the local Griffin radio station said that the Spalding County Emergency Management Agency was also collecting things to feed all of the first responders. So that's a hub for all of the fire personnel, all the police personnel, and there's all different jurisdictions out there. It's not just Spalding County.
Oh, yeah.
All of your neighboring counties, you know, were there. They had helicopters out there. I mean,
Yes.
the response was unbelievable. But all of those folks are centralized there at the Spalding County EMA, and they were feeding them there. And so they had barbecue plates. They had cases of water, like pallets of cases of water stacked up. And so we took some waters and stuff over there. But some of our ladies had made up little brown paper bags with snacks in them, like granola bars and crackers and cookies and stuff like that, and just put them in brown paper sacks. So it was easy, like a grab bag.
Yeah.
And the folks at the Spalding County EMA said that's exactly what they needed, because people can only come in for a couple of minutes
Yeah.
and they got to turn around and head out. They're not sitting down eating a meal. And so if they can hand them a bag, then something they can eat in the truck, that was something they said, if you got more of these, bring them. And so that may be an opportunity for our church, you know, to come maybe on an evening one night this week, make up some bags, and then take them to Spalding
Well,
County EMA.
I mean, why don't we just call it Wednesday night?
Okay.
All right. Instead of sitting in here
Breaking
in
news
Bible
here.
breaking news, instead of sitting in here in Bible studies,
Yeah.
if you definitely we need to get the gift cards in. But if you can pick up a case of water from the dollar store
Yeah.
and a few snacks and get them here, we'll meet in the fellowship hall.
I like it.
We'll organize the snacks.
Okay.
And then we can actually get some of our folks grab up in the trucks at some point
Yep.
and take it over there and see it.
I like
So
it.
I'll
these
get
are-
the gift cards to Frank.
Yep.
But let's Wednesday night from 6 to 7.
Let's make
Let's
goodie bags.
I mean, it's time to not learn more of the word. Let's do the word.
Yeah.
So let's just do it. Let's get those goodie bags. Linemen, like, you know, we've got linemen in our
right.
church, and so they can grab it and put it in their church. Let's just do
Well, we
it.
didn't see Tyrone. I guarantee you he's out working.
He's probably
Yeah,
out
he
working.
is. Yeah,
I mean, he's
guarantee it. He's a
so
hard worker.
in some
Tyrone,
goodie
we're coming
bags-
with snacks, man.
right,
That's
buddy.
right. We're bringing
Hang
you
in there.
some peanut butter crackers, buddy. But that's what we had. So the things would be like peanut butter or cheese crackers, granola bars, protein bars, you know, bags of chips, I guess, would
Yeah.
be good. Anything that's like that you can eat just to keep you from starving, so you can continue to work.
Yep.
And we had them in just simple. We had actually found, I think, just a bag full of paper sacks like you use for a brown bag paper
Yeah,
lunch.
lunch, yeah.
And so we can just take those and hand them out.
You know what's
and,
cool about those bags? You can write Bible verses on them.
Yeah.
You know, or say, hey, we're
Good
praying
idea.
for you. We love you. You know, something from First Baptist Zebulon. You know, First Treats from First Baptist.
It's
or
a
something.
stamped.
Yeah, there
First
you go.
treats.
There you go.
It's first word, first impression is now
Yeah.
first treats.
First Treats, that's right. It's that first bite that gets you.
Mm-hmm.
But the response that we saw was really cool. I am super proud of the Georgia Baptist Association, even our Flint River Baptist Association. They have, Frank just took off. I'll be honest, I was texting Frank yesterday morning at about 6 o'clock in the morning, and I was just like, you don't have to text me back. I'm awake, and this is when I'm thinking about this. And he hit me right back, and we even had a conversation back and forth. It's 6 a.m.
Oh, don't worry. He texts all the pastors every Sunday morning at
Yeah,
6
it's
a.m. I'm
6
like,
a.m.
Frank, hold up, bub. Some of us ain't up yet.
That's right. These young pastors don't get up at 6 a.m. and not at least in the morning. But
We're working on getting a youth minister system adjusted to.
Look, I told Matt, I said, I'm not your typical youth pastor. I get up at 5 in the morning, but I go to bed at 9:30, and Matt's like, I go to bed at about 2 in the morning and get up at about
Grandpas
10.
around here.
Bunch of old guys.
Working
I
with
know it. I
grandpas.
know it. But Clinton, you want to share just kind of what was going through your mind as you were driving through and looking at everything? And
Yeah, it was. We originally wanted to see what Pike County looked like, so we're looking for our backyard, and so contacting Jennifer Gilo, knowing that she's at the sheriff's office now.
Yeah.
So I knew that they would have an idea of what was needed in the county.
Right.
So we hit our county first, and what they told us was it was over off of River Road and Kings Bridge. So we just went riding, and it turned into a little bit of dirt road riding, but that's okay. That's fun for a country boy.
Yep.
And so we got out there, and it was a lot of tree damage, and thank the Lord I didn't see many houses.
Yeah.
There was a couple of cars here and there.
Not
but
in
I
Pike
did-
County.
Yeah, this was just Pike.
Yeah.
And then we pushed our way through and came through 362, went into Griffin, and as you're getting to the city of Griffin and kind of pushing through there, you're seeing more and more.
yeah, the closer you got to Griffin, the more devastating.
And those beautiful old oak trees. I mean, they're wonderful to look at,
Yeah.
but they're terrible when the storm comes
Dangerous.
through.
Yeah.
And so they were just split everywhere, and it was just it was heart wrenching.
It was.
And seeing but again seeing what people were doing. I mean, you didn't
Yeah.
see a ton of people. I didn't see looting. We didn't see that. And that's a great thing. I'm sure it happened somewhere at some places, but we saw guys helping each other.
Yeah.
And you saw a couple of folks walking down the road that looked a little bit hopeless, but for the most part, it was hopeful. And I'll be honest with you, I was blown away watching the road crews.
Yeah.
I mean,
Man,
those linemen and those guys working on the trees, it was phenomenal. I
It's
mean,
another area
it's
where
a
people
hopeful
from out of
area.
the state came in. I mean, these
Oh,
are
I
people
know.
from Alabama. And,
We normally see, being on 19, we'll see the trucks. And when we have
Yeah.
a hurricane,
Yeah.
man, it's like a parade all the way
Yeah.
for miles and miles. And
it
you
hits
see
a
that
little different
regularly.
when they're coming to your hometown.
Oh, it was amazing watching how much they had done. And so we, unfortunately, we went to sleep peacefully in our homes on
That's right.
Thursday night.
Yeah.
So they were hard at work probably within an hour or so after, as it hit
Yeah.
the ground. And so what we saw over here on Kings Bridge was it was nice and cleared out. I mean, there were some lines that were still down, but they were dead. And the boys thought that, we did a little jerk as we went over the, it was
Make
just.
your hair stand up a little bit.
Yeah, but no, we did fine.
Made mine stand up a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah,
lot.
I know, that's some standing up there.
Yeah.
But we have definitely it was very hopeful to see what those guys do. And but at the same time, it's heart wrenching. I mean, there's a lot to do, and we've not done enough yet.
Well, Friday morning, we didn't know exactly what we were going to do, Matt. I just got to do something, And so we called Donna Idson and said, hey, will you put out a call and post and say if anybody wants to help out, But I tell you, there are people that answer that call. Donna Idson herself come out, said, I'll do whatever you need us to do. Mike Perez was out here, helping out. Bobby Blaylock came and dropped off waters and snacks, and so it was cool to see our church also come together, at a time like that, and come to help out. I'll tell you something that I was listening to on the Spalding County radio station, the Griffin radio station. The sheriff, Daryl Dix, was being interviewed on the radio, and he said, I'm probably not supposed to say this on the radio, but I don't care, I'm gonna do it anyways. He said, I really feel like God had his hand on the city of Griffin. Wow. And I was like, that's cool to hear your sheriff say that. And he said,
That's great.
with all the devastation, he says, as I'm driving by, I'm looking at the houses that are gone, trees that are that are just bent in half, and just there's so much devastation. He said, but there's not been a single fatality reported to his office. from Griffin. And so
Wow,
that's
that's
just
amazing.
That's an amazing blessing right there. I heard stories of there's a picture of a house in Griffin, and it was like this. They had a before and after picture. It was this beautiful, brand new house. And then after the tornado, it was just the foundation. I mean, it was just the cement. You could see the tiles from the bathroom still on the cement. House is gone. And the story said that the guy that lived there, when he heard the tornado coming, he got in his bathtub. And the tornado just wiped out the house, lifted the bathtub up, and threw him in the woods in the bathtub. And says, when he got out of the bathtub, out of the woods, he said the story said that he went to his neighbor's house and helped him start cleaning up.
Wow.
That's just how that's what it's brought out of people. So
It amazes me how much storms and tragedies bring about that human spirit that we see,
right.
and it also it hurts me too to know that
It
for
takes
so
that
many
sometimes.
people it takes tragedy to pay attention to God. It's like, where would we be if we were like this when there are no tragedy, when there is nothing seemingly to beg God for?
right.
It's like something happens and we want to go to God and we beg Him, to get us through. What if we were that way every day? What if the American people were that way every day, just help people no matter what?
It'd be like the early church. I mean,
Yeah.
that's what it said. That they were
And we
helping.
wouldn't be in the mess we're in today.
That's
and
exactly right.
We wouldn't have to have voting between political parties. We would just do it.
Yeah. So you've got a lot of people that ask the question why. That's the biggest question on people's mind right now is, if God's a good God, why does He let something like that happen? Why would He destroy my house and take everything I've got away from me? And the answer to that's a tough answer. It's a tough question to answer. And I've told students that the answer is actually bigger than us.
Yeah.
It's not in our little bubble that we see. It's all around us. The answer is because there's sin in the world.
Yeah. Well, and the great thing is our God is a big enough God to handle our whys.
That's it.
He can take our whys because at least when we're asking why, we're bringing them to God.
That's exactly right. Yeah.
It's better for us to bring them to God and ask why
Yeah.
rather than to ignore God and go look somewhere else. And there are a lot of reasons why. And some of those reasons why you'll figure out today, and some of these reasons why you'll figure out in 6 years.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff that's happened in my life, and I thought, okay, why?
Yeah.
Years down the road, I go,
There it is.
I wouldn't know how to handle this or help you if I hadn't have been through that.
Yeah, that's
So
right.
that's my why.
That's right. And God always uses
Just
that for
trust
His
Him.
glory. Yeah.
Yeah.
He gets the glory out of it.
Trust
So-
Him, trust Him, trust Him.
So Wednesday we're going to do a packing party then?
Yeah,
I guess we're gonna
packing party
I like
Wednesday.
That. I like that idea.
So collection point is here.
Okay.
You can you purchase the gift cards. You bring the gift cards to church.
Okay.
Drop them off here. We'll be in the office Tuesday. I know everybody's closed down on Monday for the holiday, and they should be. You can bring them Tuesday. You can bring them Wednesday.
Okay.
Even if you don't get them here Wednesday, you can still bring them
still
throughout
take
the week. We'll still get them there.
Yeah.
Collection point for gift cards is here.
Right.
Places like Home Depot, Lowe's, Walmart's a great one for it.
Yep.
Because you can get
You get
groceries
anything.
and home goods.
right.
And if you can't get out and give or to buy
Yeah.
gift cards, bring just designate the funds and give the
Yep.
church the check, and then we can go get the cards for
Yep.
you.
You
or
can
have
do- yeah.
Frank go get them
We'll
as
we'll handle that.
association.
We're
We'll send the
saying,
youth pastor to do that.
There you go.
Great idea.
We got to find one. I'm just teasing.
Pam, we need Pam.
Where's
She don't do
Pam?
anything
Wait,
around
Pam's
here.
not
Pam?
here. Pam's going to buy the gift cards.
That's right. So if you have like a check or something like that and you want to designate that to the tornado relief, if you'll just write tornado relief on your check, Matt has put in on the app, if you're doing a digital payment, there's a drop down menu and you can select tornado relief and those funds will go directly to that as well.
Yep.
Speaking of the app and just changing the topic here real quick, I noticed, Matt, that you've loaded in the Bible into our church app. Talk about the plan, the reading plan that you've got set up in there now.
Okay, so our goal is to start with reading through the New Testament in 6 months.
Okay.
Bible reading is so important. Getting to know God and what He's doing in the world right now is really, really important.
Especially now.
Yes, we talked about this morning that there's knowing and then there's doing.
That's right.
But how do we know what to do unless we know His Word? And the more we get to know God, the more we can begin to see His work. So on our app, there's just a little button on the bottom that says Bible, and you click on plan, and it starts tomorrow. And so our whole church and anybody who has the app can read through the Bible at the same pace together.
That's right.
And you go through that. Now, I'll encourage you as you're reading it, if you get behind, don't just stop. Just keep moving forward wherever it is today.
That's it.
We're going to get behind occasionally. Just go ahead and read through it. Get back on track. And God will keep you and get you right. But spend some time in your prayer life and think about how does this apply to me? What does God want me to do as a result of what I read? We don't want to just have the knowledge.
That's right. We want to
Your history teachers, they didn't just teach a date. They taught why that date occurred in history.
Right.
We don't want to just remember a verse. We want to know what this verse means. What does it apply to my life? What does it want me to do and change? So
Definitely.
you can go on the Bible app, or go to any of your app store, Google Play, Apple, all of them.
And the
just
reading
search
is not
Zebulon
extensive.
First.
Like,
No,
for
it's-
instance, the first one is 2 chapters in
Two
Matthew.
chapters.
So it'll take 10 minutes. You read 2 chapters in Matthew. You can do that in your quiet time. You can do that once you get to work, have your first cup of coffee like me, or your first 3 cups of coffee, and read through that. And what a great way to start
you can
your
even
day.
do an audio Bible and just have it read it to you while you're in the car if you
There
want.
There you go. Well, for those of you that don't go to First Baptist Zebulon, and we introduced ourselves last podcast, but we're here with Clint Walker today. I like introducing Clint at the very tail end of the podcast, so people have been wondering who you are the whole time.
Who's that dumb guy?
Who's that guy in the middle? But Clint's our music minister, and Clint leads us in worship every Sunday. Clint, talk about why in a situation like this, like what we find ourselves in with the tornadoes and all that, why is worship so important?
Well, it's healing. I mean, you can have the worst day that you've ever had in your life, and then you can start singing, and it could be Amazing Grace, or it could be anything, the simplest, or whatever comes to your mind. But when you're somehow God is, he's just good at this, and he knows that those songs they lift the spirits, they make you feel better, but at the same time, He's getting some pleasure out of this.
Absolutely.
He wants us, because this is some of that. This is what he created us for.
That's right.
And so, so for me, for myself, I mean, that's what he gave me, a loud mouth.
Yeah.
And I can carry a tune.
We got 3 of them
And
up
so he knows that I shouldn't talk too much when I'm in the pulpit, because I'll ramble and say stupid stuff.
Is that
But
what
if
he
I
does,
can
Ginger?
lead the congregation in singing and lift our voices to the Lord, it changes everything.
Yeah.
And it changes your spirit and your
does.
attitude. It really does.
Yes. For me, worship redirects my focus. So, when you're in a situation like, what we find ourselves in now, and it's just devastating, when you worship, you're putting the focus on God, not on your situation, not on what's going on. You're redirecting your focus on God, and I think that's kind of where the healing and all that starts to come from.
Oh, it does. I mean, an example is, many days, I'm working full time, and for years, I was commuting to Conyers and then back in here into Zebulon, and it'd be just a typical stressful, busy day.
Yeah.
Wednesdays,
We
for
all have
whatever
them.
reason, are the busiest day of the week in my work. It always has been that way. And, so I get in, spend it, coming in on 2 wheels and try to get ready for choir practice, and you're exhausted. You don't want to give, but you start singing these songs, and the subject matter of these songs, it's lifting up, it's talking about, how, God is faithful to us, or whatever it may talk about. It's always a subject matter that the Spirit needs. And by the end of that hour, you're exhausted, because you're doing, a little bit of cardio there with all the singing that we're doing. But at the same time, your spirit has changed.
Absolutely.
And I can have the worst attitude and be mad at folks and whatever, and you spend an hour singing to our Lord, about our Lord, about Jesus and what He did for us, and by the end, you're changed completely. Those who are not involved on that level, I mean, it's like, to give a quick plug, I've always said, hey, if you can't sing, it's about what's in the heart.
That's right.
And it'd be nice to sound a little bit in tune, right? But if you got,
I dream of that.
if you can only carry a
dream.
tune in your bucket is welcome. Okay,
That's right.
So bring your bucket and come sing to the Lord.
Love it.
And it'll change everything. And I've seen a couple of our newer choir members recently that over the years, this April I've been here 10 years.
Yeah.
And so I do watch everybody when I'm up here singing, and you got some folks that are just never, they'll be sad looking or whatever. But then you got
say
some.
Say their names while we're live.
No, I would
No, I'm
never
kidding.
do that. But it's hilarious, and it's whatever the reason, right? But and that's why we like to have a variety of songs.
Sure,
So there may be this song, and you can see their spirit change because they love that song, or it has meant something to them.
Yeah.
Yep.
But there's certain people that I've noticed, and they just smile and they glow as they're singing. And a couple of those have recently joined the choir, and it just really makes you happy to see that happen.
Good stuff.
So
I know the choir has really grown in just the last little bit I've known of it.
Yeah.
And
Choir does a phenomenal job.
I tell you, when I was here preaching in view of a call, I sat right there on that second row, and it was in the middle of one of the songs, and it was like Lord spoke to me through Clint singing in the choir, going, "This is Spot. Wow. This is your home." And I'm like, okay,
Love it. In the
I'll
middle of
listen.
worship. In the
Yeah,
middle of worship.
and we talk about this quiet time stuff, and we make these big rules out of quiet time, and we don't get into it because we don't have the time to sit down at home and actually be quiet, because whose house is actually quiet
That's
anymore?
right. Yeah, what is
It's
that?
just not like that.
Yeah.
We overcomplicate it, and we've heard it since we were kids.
Yeah.
But you spoke something to it. We have a commute time,
Yeah.
and we can put some Christian music on in the car.
That's it.
You can listen to the First Impressions podcast.
That's right.
Or
Oh,
any,
nice.
yeah, or
See what he
any of
did
the podcasts that the Bible app can be read to you.
That's right.
And so there's no excuse in time. Everybody says, "I don't have time." No, you've got time.
You got to make it.
It's just, maybe your drive to work or drive to school, dropping a kid off, or,
Yeah. All right. Final words from Pastor Matt Hinesley.
Good to see y'all today. It's great to have a big church,
We did have a great crowd today.
big crowd in church.
A couple of faces I've not seen,
Yeah,
and a few that
several.
I've not seen in a while. But it
Yeah.
was great to see them.
Really was.
Yeah. My thing is just to remind everybody, let's be doers of the word,
Absolutely.
and this is our way to do.
I love it.
Hands and feet.
That's good.
Final words from music minister Clint Walker.
Let's go eat.
Man, I'm
Let's
hungry.
go eat.
Listen to that.
I'm out. See you.
That's all he needed to hear. All right. Well, we'll close out the other podcast. I'll give you my final words. I'm looking forward to being able to do something Wednesday with everybody and put these bags together and get them ready for the EMA. Thank you again to Frank Knuckles for all that he does with the association. Thank you to our association. Thank you to our church. We just got such a loving and generous church. Thank you for watching the podcast. It means the world to us, and especially to Matt. And I told Matt early on, I said, "Look, man, I don't think anybody's going to watch this, but at least we'll have fun doing it." But
At least our moms will watch it.
yeah,
right?
that's right. We can show it to somebody. But we do appreciate you watching this and get a chance to kind of see us with our hair down or hair not at all. And so it was a stab at me. And so, wait just a minute. But anyways, for the First Impressions podcast, I'm Charles Howard alongside Matt Hinesley and Clint Walker. And we thank you so much for being with us. And we'll see you next time.
God
for
bless
next
Let's
episode.
eat. I'm
Let's do
out.
it.
Go.
Peace.